Is anybody here from Dion's group or any of your, Hassan?
No.
Hassan, why don't you come up here and join us from the community engagement perspective? Commissioner's here, was DA, okay. Here, and Commissioner, can you all move up just a little bit, please? All right, and would you all mind just curving a little bit? It always bothers me that you all get cut out, and it's important that people see who's, okay, present with us here on today. Let me start by saying good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us for this important update regarding an arrest made in a mass shooting event that many of you will remember, which occurred at a pop-up party on the 2300 block of Greenland Drive in North Philadelphia on the night of June 14th, where 5 teenagers were shot and 1 tragically lost their life. An 18-year-old woman died in that shooting. I want you all to hear me on today, whom you will hear from shortly, and these are the stakeholders who are present. They're going to give you an update, more details on the ongoing investigation and subsequent arrests that we are announcing today. Of course, our police commissioner, Kevin Bethel, our deputy commissioner of investigations, Frank Venor, and our district attorney, Larry Krasner. Now, we haven't had many public updates about this over the last couple of months that we could actually share about the case, but that doesn't mean that all of the men and women who have a role in these investigations haven't been hard at work to bring closure, justice, and peace to the victims, their families, and all of those who have been impacted by this senseless violence. I want to affirm for the record today that this development would not be possible without the hardworking members of our Philadelphia Police Department, led by our police commissioner, Kevin Bethel, his entire executive team. I know Venor is here, all of the detectives, those whose names you don't know and you may never hear. Our district attorney, and I know members of his team are present here on today, along with all of our federal law enforcement partners. And I know I sound like a broken record when I affirm to residents of the city of Philadelphia that we will use every tool in the toolbox to ensure that we make sure your public health and safety is our #1 priority, but that Philadelphia is not alone, our police department, that we will work with our partners. It is also possible, and I want to affirm this, because this is what I believe Police Commissioner Bethel and District Attorney Krasner, and to our Public Safety Director, Adam Geer, this is what I'm proud of and I would like to see more of happen. Brave members of the community in neighborhoods who step up and say, this isn't right. We will not live in fear. Doing the right thing and helping us take dangerous individuals off the street so others don't have to experience the pain and anguish that the family members of these victims and the surrounding community, all that they were put through as a result of this shooting. I want to acknowledge for the record that we empathize with and we see and feel the pain and the trauma that they are going through. And we don't ever want anybody to think that we don't acknowledge that. And it's important for me as mayor of the city to publicly affirm that to the people of the city of Philadelphia. Mothers and fathers, daughters and sons, family and community, we feel it. And I wholeheartedly believe that we are going to change that feeling in the community and across the city. As I have said before, and I will say it again, we will not rest until every person feel safe in their homes and in their neighborhoods across the city of Philadelphia, because I don't care what the quantitative analysis says about how well we're doing with reducing crime in the city of Philadelphia. Until people feel safer in their daily ongoings in our city, there is no time for us to rest. No one in this administration has or will slow down our advocacy until every community in our city is safe from the scourge of gun violence. To those who have or are thinking about committing acts of violence, I want you to hear us today. Please do not do it. Don't pick up the gun. There is another way and there is another path. And Public Safety Director Geer, I couldn't help but to think about Dion Sumter and his team, where we just announced, were we together a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Commissioner, at a rec center in North Philadelphia, announcing a $600,000 grant that Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon secured for us to enact a GVI, juvenile-focused program for young people ages 12 to 17 who are most at risk. So, while the announcement and the intergovernmental cooperation that has resulted in what is being communicated to you on today is important, we want you to know that we are employing a comprehensive approach. It's based on prevention, intervention, and enforcement, and using every tool in the toolbox to make sure the public health and safety of the people of Philadelphia, that they are our #1 priority. And I want to turn it over to Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel, and I want to just publicly affirm and say to you, Commissioner, one of the most important decisions that I made after I put my hand on that Bible and was sworn in as mayor was who would lead this department. And Lord knows I thank you for serving as our commissioner, and I commend you for the work that you and your team have been doing. Commissioner Bethel.
So I thank you there. Thank you, Mayor, and I thank you for your support. I think it's really important. You know, I remember, you know, it was only in June 14th where we had 5 individuals shot out in the park, and we talked about the juvenile meetup. And only 3 weeks later, have 9 people shot, and 2 of the young people who were shot, the young lady and young man, were 2 of the promoters they promoted the events. And I know we railed against the young people, don't get engaged in this activity, find other alternatives. We asked parents to engage their young people, but at the same time, we made a commitment. We made a commitment in the charge that the mayor gave me to make this a safer city, that we would not stop, we would continue, because they were valued. Everyone in our community is valued. We could sit back on the laurels of, yes, we're having a very successful year. Right. Yeah, but success doesn't mean numbers, right? It means about doing the work. And so I was extremely proud of the men and women, my detective division, homicide detectives, when they called me and told me that we had made an arrest for this young girl who was killed out in the park. Because at the end of the day, young people do what young people do. But there's no reason they should be killed in trying to have a good time and promote a party. It's not perfect, but no one should lose their life. And so we want to continue to send the message that if you engage in this type of behavior, we will continue to work with the District Attorney's Office, our federal partners. We thank our Marshals Task Force for the apprehension we have. We're going to work tirelessly to continue to go after those individuals who cause harm in our community. And so I just want to say to the men and women who work for me and the collaboration I have here today, we're grateful, but we are going to continue to do the work. We'll continue to stay focused as we go about our effort to make this a safer city. So what I'm going to do now is turn it over to Commissioner Frank Venor. And the mayor gives me my flowers. I have to give him his as well. You know, from the time I walk in the door, I'm a tenacious leader. I don't say that out of arrogance. It's just who I am. I'm going to push you, and then I'm going to push you some more. He's probably got more bruises on his back than you can imagine, because I want to know, where are we on these investigations? Yeah, I mean, and so, but he has answered that charge and has worked tirelessly with his men and women to be able to bring many of these cases that are coming in. Today, we look at a clearance rate of 72% in our homicides and almost 36% in our non-fatal shootings. That is because of the men and women are pushing each and every day to make this a successful process. So I turn it over to Frank, so he'll give you an update on the job.
Good afternoon. I'll give a very brief overview of both cases. Just want to state that we're announcing an arrest here on the case on Greenland Drive, but we're not done in that case or the other case that we feel is linked to that case. So we're going to still need the public's help. But on June 14th at just before 11 p.m., police responded to Greenland Drive for a report of a shooting. When we get there, there were 5 people that were hit by gunfire. One, as the mayor and the commissioner stated, at the time she was 17, Aisha Stanley was killed, shot in the chest that particular day. There were 4 other teenagers that were hit by gunfire that day, all non-fatally. Through the community's help, through the help of the district attorney's office, and very diligent work by investigators, looking at the evidence, looking at technology, and especially in this case, looking at social media, all right? Social media was a big part of this. This was what they call a meetup, so it was all developed on social media. There were about 200 people on Greenland Drive that night. What we believe through our investigation is our defendant in this case, Zion Carroll, and another individual who we have not identified yet, were engaged in shooting at each other. At least one of the 2 of them had a gun with, we believe, is a switch on it, because you could hear the gunfire being fired, and it was being fired in a rapid fire like it was automatic. So in that case, we know there's firing at each other. Everybody else that's involved in this is an innocent victim, was just in a wrong place at the wrong time. So they were shooting. We're able to, and the district attorney will talk about, charge that individual. We caught him yesterday with the help of our Marshals Task Force. And what we know is 20 days later, we had a very similar incident in the 1900 block of South Salford. All right, there was about 150 people there that day. In this case, there were 9 victims, and they were all from ages 14 to 24. Now, our decedent in that case was a male by the name of Maurice Kwan. He was 19 years of age, and he was also fatally struck by gunfire. The other 8 victims were non-fatally struck. All right, in this case, though, the social media matched up. So we know there's a connection. In this case, it was a little different. We don't think any of these victims on Greenland were targeted. It looks like we have a white Toyota Highlander pull up to Salford. People from inside that vehicle fired weapons towards these individuals and then fled. That vehicle was recovered within 24 hours in Lansdowne. We are working on evidence and we have significant direction, but we still need help in this other case. So we're urging the public, if you know something, if you could find something, give us a call, leave us an anonymous tip to point us in the right direction. All right, at this point, I'll turn things over to the district attorney to talk about the charges.
Thank you. So the technical aspects first. Well, wait a minute. Not the technical aspects first. Where's Voci? Get up here. Mr. Palmer, get up here, please. Where's Listenby? Come on, Bob. I want to confirm and validate all of the good words that you have heard from the mayor about the police commissioner, the good words you have heard from the police commissioner about the people who are working there. This is a remarkable example of collaboration. It is a remarkable example of success with an investigation that was by no means easy. But I also want you to know that when the detectives in this case got the information together and they needed a warrant, Palmer was on call. Palmer answered the call. Palmer got it done. When we needed a prosecutor with all of the experience and expertise that you would want to handle this, we got the guy, Anthony Voci, who is in charge of doing all homicides which involve juvenile defendants, when we needed somebody to oversee their activity and the activity of the other 650-plus people who work in the office and often deal with issues around juveniles, well, Bob Listenby only handled juvenile justice for Barack Obama in his second term for 4 years. So he knows a couple things, and his career has been dedicated to it. I want to make sure that as we celebrate the real collaboration that is going on, as we celebrate how important it is that the mayor and that city council are able to meet the needs that we have when it comes to funding to protect victims, when it comes to keeping our attorneys in our office working for less money than they could make elsewhere because they believe in the work. I want to confirm that we are all on the same page here. But I also want to celebrate the people in the office who do this incredible work. This is not the first time Voce has been in front of cameras today. He was in front of cameras earlier because he just did the sentencing of Amin Hurst. Remember him? Multiple homicides and escaped from prison. That guy? Well, that sentencing happened today. Those convictions were finalized with sentencings today. These are people who work really hard. They work really long hours. They do, like their partners in the federal and in the state level of law enforcement, like our partners in community-based organizations who do the important prevention work that the mayor has mentioned. These are people who work really hard, and they deserve their credit far more than I do, frankly. This is obviously a horrific case. This is a case in which a bunch of innocent people were caught in the crossfire of young people doing things that, frankly, should be unimaginable. I could not agree more with the mayor when she says, and the police commissioner when he says, that yes, on the numbers, we're having a remarkably successful year in improving public safety. In fact, we are considered to be leading big cities in the United States in that regard, but that does not answer anything for the parents of a 17-year-old girl who was killed when she simply went to try to socialize, to enjoy herself that evening. People do need to know. They need us to communicate this, which is why it's important. They need to know and they need to feel that while tragedies continue, there are more and more people who are never struck by that bullet because the gun is never lifted. They need to know that. And I could not agree more with the mayor for raising that point in particular. You're going to get caught if you engage in this behavior. And we are all standing here to say that. You are going to be justly prosecuted. And trust me, you don't want to be prosecuted by these guys because they will succeed. And you are going to get the appropriately lengthy sentence you deserve. If you are going to cause mayhem on the street, if you're going to spill blood on the street, if you're going to terrify communities, then you are going to get exactly what you deserve. And you are going to get it through the work of the district attorney's office in collaboration with all of our partners up here. I know that this is the holiday season. There will be empty chairs at tables, sadly. Our victim support team is there to support you through this season, whether it is on this case or another case. The numbers for our victim support team are 215-686-8027 and 215-686-8019. Finally, I just want to thank the mayor again. I want to thank you, Madam Mayor, for your leadership, and thank you for your collaboration. Thank you for all that you are doing to improve public safety from all three buckets, and it is so important that we are working with all three of these different buckets that you have laid out. This office stands with you, and the Philadelphia DA's office stands with holding this defendant accountable and to ensure the consequences of this crime are appropriately serious, which is exactly what they need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, DA Krasner. I am now going to ask to close us out, Adam Gear, who is our Public Safety Director for the City of Philadelphia. Adam.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank all of our partners for being here today, right? This is what leadership looks like from our mayor, pulling us together here, responding to what happened in our communities, right? Making sure that we are bringing justice to these folks, making sure we're bringing justice to these communities, to these families. It is critically important, as all of us have emphasized, that we are not giving up.
Come on.
Right? We are not satisfied with where we're at. We cannot be satisfied. We do this work because we love this city. We do this work because we were called to it. We do the city because this is where we live. And we want to make every single one of our communities as safe as they can so that we can be proud, and we are proud, of our Philadelphia. And I'm going to end with this quote, and I've said it a few times now, but this quote for me really, really hits home, right? And it's an African proverb. A young person who is not embraced by his community will burn it down just to feel its warmth. You hear what I'm saying? Will burn it down just to feel its warmth. Well, we are not going to get to that point. We are working to have that prevention, that intervention, all of our great work so that we are bringing those young people through those programs that the mayor mentioned, bringing them into the light with us in our communities, and we will not give up. We will not give up. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership.
Thank you so very much. Few questions. I'm going to ask for Noor if you can come back up, and Commissioner Beth on District Attorney and the attorneys. Any questions?
You wanted to take it?
Good afternoon. This was an excellent example of great police work, for which I am grateful to the Commissioner. We had a patrol officer make a routine stop, recover a gun. That individual was then investigated. That individual had a telephone, and the telephone led us to the defendant in this case. And then when we got on the defendant's telephone, it linked him to statements made about this crime. And our criminalistics lab, for which we are eternally grateful, was able to make a ballistics match between that recovered gun and the gun that was used in this crime. So it's a great example of police work and different units within the police department working together. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Detective John Maha, who's the lead investigator in this case, has done an outstanding investigation.
Anything you want to add? I really do. Before they get to the next question, you mentioned technology. If you will, just a word about the role of technology in solving crime, just for the record, please.
It can't be underestimated in our modern society. So telephones interface with satellites, and they create data in the form of records. So when you move with your phone, we know where you are or where you were at certain time periods. And so that's the phone technology. And then, of course, there's video cameras in many, many places around the city, both private and public video cameras, which lead to other clues. And, of course, we can't, as the inspector indicated, we rely on the public as well. And so the technology also in our criminalistics lab to be able to get that gun and do that ballistics match was extremely helpful in this case.
The follow-up? You had a follow-up? So is it one person who's charged?
That is correct. One person has been charged, I should say, as of now. But there were two individuals that were shooting that night, and the way the law works, at least in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and in the city of Philadelphia, is that if you involve yourself in gunplay and you are carrying an illegal gun, whether you are the first to shoot or the second to shoot, when there are innocent children, minors, adults, it doesn't matter who they are, in the middle, and that gunfight results in people being injured, both sides can be charged. So we are looking at other individuals as well. No, just the shooting on Greenway as of now.
So these are, as I said, these are meetups. So they have what we call promoters. It appears the same promoter promoted both of these meetups. So whether they're connected in way of the offenders, I don't think that's the case. But we know these meetups, which at the time in the spring, we were getting them all the time. They slowed down a little bit, but this is the scary part of that. When 200 kids get together and then two people want to have a gunfight, they're all in a bad place. So that's what we were trying to say here. The meetups were connected. Sure.
Just so you're aware, one of the things that stuck out about this job too is the young lady and the young man that had a relationship. Not, you know, they knew each other, they were on social media together. He was in fact in a state of mourning, so we didn't have any meetups for a period after that until he had that event. So there was a direct relationship between the two.
He is 17 years old, and the charges are as follows: murder, aggravated assault, carrying a firearm without a license, an illegal transfer of a firearm because the gun that was recovered on that car stop was transferred to that person that we got it off of by our shooter in this case, so that is a separate felony. We also have carrying a firearm on the streets, possession of a firearm by a minor because he is 17 years old, possession of an instrument of crime, simple assault, and recklessly endangering.
Thank you all so very much for your time, and again, thank you to each and every one of our partners. We appreciate you. Commissioner Benoit, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Madam Mayor. All righty.